Hi students, welcome to my channel Mastering Physics and Math. I use this channel to serve you wherever you are. So please share and like and write comments in order for everyone to benefit. This paper, Cambridge International AS and A-Level Physics, Paper 1, Multiple Choice, May-June 2019. First question. Which unit can be expressed in base units as kilogram meter squared per second squared? The kinetic energy equals half mv squared. So the dimension of kinetic energy is half is a pure number, m is kilogram, and v squared is meter squared per second squared. So this is a unit of energy, and the unit of energy is joule. Question 2. The luminosity L of a star is given by L equals 4 pi r squared sigma T to 4, where r is the radius of the star, T is the temperature of the star, and sigma is a constant with units watt, meter to -2, K to -2. K is Kelvin. What are the SI base units for L? The dimension of L, 4 pi is a pure number, has no unit, r squared meter squared, and sigma is watt meter to -2, K Kelvin to -4, and we multiply here by the dimension of T to 4 is Kelvin to 4. So equals watt, and the watt equals joule per second. The base units for energy, joule, is, as we see here, is kilogram meter squared per second squared. Kilogram meter squared per second squared, and we have here a second. So kilogram meter squared per second cubed. A particle has velocity v at an angle theta to the horizontal. The components of the particle's velocity are vv upwards in the vertical direction and vh to the right in horizontal direction, as shown. What are expressions for the magnitude of v and for the angle theta? V, V, and VH are the components of V. So if we add this vector to VH to this vector, we obtain a right triangle. V vertical. So according to Pythagorean theorem, V squared equals VH squared plus VV squared. And the magnitude is this choice or that. But the tangent of this angle theta is the opposite over the adjacent, VV over VH. So this is the right choice. A hail produces sound waves of frequency 5 Hz. The waves are detected by a microphone and displayed on an oscilloscope. What is the time base setting on the oscilloscope? Frequency equals 5 Hertz. So the period T is 1 over F equals 1 over 5 equals 0.2 second. Now this time is equivalent to this distance on the time axis. And the division is half this number, that is 0.2 over 2.1. So the division is equivalent to 0.1 second. And this is equivalent to 100 millisecond. Millisecond per division. Five, the speed shown on a car's speedometer is proportional to the rate of rotation of the tires. The variation of the diameter of a tire as it wears introduces an error in the speed shown on the speedometer. A car has new tires of diameter 600 millimeter. The speedometer is accurately calibrated for this diameter. The tires wear as shown, with 6 millimeter of material being removed from the outer surface. What is the error in the speed shown on the speedometer after this wear has taken place? The diameter is 600 millimeter. So the radius here increases by 6, so the radius increase or decrease 12 millimeter. So delta D equals minus 12 millimeter. So the ratio, the percentage ratio is delta D over D times 100%, 12 over 600 times so 12 over 6 is 2%. Now when this part is removed, the dimensions of the tire decreases, so the moment of inertia decreases. When the moment of inertia decreases, the rate of rotation increases for the same torque that is given by the engine. So rate of rotation increases. So the speedometer gauge increase. So the speed shown is too high by 2%. A car travels along a straight horizontal road. The graph shows the variation of the velocity v of the car with time t for 6.0 seconds of its journey. The brakes of the car are applied from t equals 1.0 second to from t equals 1.0 second to t equals 4.0 second. How far does the car travel while the brakes are applied? This distance can be calculated from the area under the curve. This area. I separate the area into triangle and rectangle. Now for the rectangle, the dimensions is 4 minus 1 is 3, and here is 8. So the area here, A1 equals 8 times 3 equals 24 meter squared, the area. The area for the triangle equals half the base times the height. The height here from this is 8, and here is 22. 22 minus 8 is 14, and the base is 3. So A2 equals half times 3 times 14. The difference, 22 minus 8 is 14, and this is equal 21 meter squared. So the total is 45 meters squared. It represents the covered distance, which is 45 meters. Seven, a stone is thrown horizontally from the top of a cliff and falls into the sea sometime later. air resistance is negligible. Which graph shows how the vertical component VV of velocity of this stone varies with its horizontal component VH of velocity as it moves through the air? The horizontal velocity remains constant. VH equals constant because the air resistance is negligible. But the vertical velocity VV is increasing linearly with time, equals G, gravitational acceleration, times T. Now in A, both VV and VH are increasing, and this is wrong. And here also both VV and VH are increasing together, and this is also disqualified. In C, VV is constant. Of course, this is wrong. It is increasing linearly with time. And VH is increasing. VH is constant. So in this D is qualified because the V horizontal is constant at this figure, and VV increasing linearly. So D is the qualified answer. Eight, a positive charge of 2.6 times 10 to negative 8 coulomb is in a uniform electric field of field strength 300,000 volt per meter. How much work must be done on the charge in order to move it a distance of 4.0 millimeter in the opposite direction of the field? Work equals the electric force times the distance, delta D. The electric force equals QE, the charge times the electric field, times delta D, equals 2.6 times 10 to negative 8. The electric field is 3 times 10 to 5. The distance D, 4.0 millimeter, converting it to a meter, equals 2.6 times here 3 times 4 is 12, times 10. We add the powers. Minus 11 plus 5 is minus 6. $31.2. Now moving the decimal point here after the 3, so we get 3.1. We get 3.1 times 10 to negative 5. Nine. Each diagram illustrates a pair of forces of equal magnitude. Which diagram gives an example of a pair of forces that is described by Newton's third law of motion? The condition for Newton's third law is that the two forces must be of the same nature. Now in A, this driving force is a chemical force converting to a mechanical force, and the reverse force, the resistance force, is a frictional force, so this disqualified. Now for C, the supporting force is a contact force, and this weight is a gravitational force. This is disqualified. For D, this is a gravitational force, the weight of the aircraft, and the lift force is a floating force. In A, the two forces are of the same origin, gravitational force, so this is gravitational attraction, and this is a gravitational attraction, so this answer is a qualified answer. A stone is dropped from a tall building. Air resistance is significant. The variation of distance fallen with time is shown by the dashed line. A second stone with the same dimensions. Of course, same dimensions means the same force, the same air resistance force, because the air resistance depends on the volume or the dimensions. But a smaller mass is dropped from the same building. Which line represents the motion of the second stone? Now suppose the first one has a mass of 5 kilograms. So its weight equals 5 times 10 equals 50 Newton. And suppose the air resistance is 10, for example, 10 Newton. So the resultant force is 40. And 40 divided by its mass, which is 5, give me an acceleration equals 40 over 5 is 8 meters per second squared. Now for the second stone, the same dimension. Now suppose its mass is 2 kilograms. Now the weight is 20 Newton. The air resistance is the same, 10 Newton, as I said, because the dimensions are the same and the resistance of air depends on the dimension or the surface area. So resultant force here is 10, 20 minus 10, and the acceleration here equals 10 over 2 equals 5. So the acceleration of the smaller stone is less than that of the greater one. So the distance covered is less than the first case. and this is the qualified answer. Of course, this is a straight line. It is not disqualified. It is not qualified. Disqualified, this D. Enough for this video. I will complete the rest of the questions in the following videos. Thank you very much for following me, and bye bye.